ये आए
हाँ, ये नए
पहले नहीं
ये
थे।
पहले ये अकेला होगा सर, ये दोनों का दिया है सर समरी मॉडिफिकेशन।
हम्म।
हम्म। छी, चल।
Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to all of you to this webinar, specifically tailored for the medical practitioner. I, Ayushi Saini, NADA India, will moderate this webinar. The primary goal of this webinar is to educate and empower all medical practitioners by equipping them with essential knowledge and the best practices necessary for delivering high quality care to athletes. First and foremost, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all medical practitioners joining this webinar. It's a pleasure to have here on this virtual platform. I'm excited about today's session and hope it will be engaging, informative, and thought provoking. Now, before we begin the session, I would like to request all of the participants to keep your microphones muted and to use the chat function to ask any questions you may have. We will also have question and answer session at the end of this workshop to address any additional questions or concerns. So without getting any further delay, let's get started. I would like to welcome our distinguished guests who have made their significant contribution to their respective fields. Thank you so much for giving us a valuable time. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Ashish Bhargava, Director General and CEO NADA India, to deliver the opening remarks.
Okay, thank you, Ayushi. Thank you for the starting this webinar, and I warmly welcome Dr. Naval Vikram and Sausa to this webinar, which is for medical practitioners. And we are having these series of webinar from 15th to 30th to commemorate and celebrate this Playthrough Day, which is on the 19th of April every year. And as we go along implementing anti-doping program in this country, it is very important that medical practitioners and medical field people, doctors and everybody is made aware and made conscious of the fact that this program envisages their crucial role in the whole ecosystem. Basically, this webinar is should be looked at as a effort to enlighten the medical practitioners of this particular of the sensitive aspect of anti-doping and of their role in successfully implementing this program in the country as a whole. As India aspires to host Olympics and also to become a sporting giant as it is now in other fields and sectors of the economy and of the world. India needs your skills and your knowledge to navigate the difficult and uncharted waters of the anti-doping landscape and program, where we try to control the doping in not only in sports but then in the society as a whole. So I see this as a war, as a mission against prohibited substances for public in general rather than athletes only. But then when it comes to prohibited substances and actions that can be taken against people, then prohibited substances get restricted to athletes and their welfare. So, the athletes and sporting persons who are there in the country, they are also in touch with medical practitioners, doctors, all these people. You are constantly in touch with them. So while prescribing, we are giving medicines, while treating them, while guiding them. You play a very, very important role in the whole system to keep them away from prohibited substances and keep them clean. In fact, doctors would know much better than anybody else that what are these prohibited substances, what is their what are their side effects, what are their long-term effects, and what are their substitutes. The substitutes which actually the whole matter is not a part of addiction of any kind, as they would know. It is a matter of performing well. So performing well can be attained through different methods which are different from these, which don't harm these people in the long run, and that only a medical practitioner can better inform them through a system of dietitian, through a system of their own mechanism which they can devise for athletes and sports personnel in the country, and also help us out in better treating these athletes uh, whenever they get ill and all that. So their importance is paramount in the whole program, in implementing anti-doping program, and to that to highlight the significance of that and to have a very august panel here who would take you through some experiences, some healthy interaction. I would like to welcome our panelists and our people who are going to address you after me. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking your time out late in the evening to be a part of this webinar. I expect we will. This is not the first and last webinar. We'll continue and we'll have going ahead. We'll have try to have a symposium, a seminar of physical in physical form also of medical practitioners, because we think that they are the pivot around which the whole anti-doping program revolves, and they play a very crucial role. Whether it is QE committee or whether it is treating the sports people or whether it is deciphering the effects of prohibited substances or controlling their supply or controlling their demand. So wherever you see a medical practitioner in their prescription and their knowledge, they have a role to play in this important aspect. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thoughtful and insightful words. Set the tone for the entire event. Now, I would like to invite Dr. P.L. Sahu, Director, NDTL India. Sir, I request you to join and to deliver the presentation specifically tailored for the medical practitioner, navigating the no-go zone, unveiling prohibited substances and methods.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I thank you and congratulate NADA for organizing this important webinar at this right time. So just I'm sharing this slide. So there is some issue. So can you help me to? It's already there. Yes. Just I'm changing this in computer.
Yes, it has come up. Yes.
Yes. बैकड्रॉप नहीं आ रहा कोई बात नहीं yes so I think can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So I am going to discuss the prohibited list 2022, and it is very important for all the participants, especially all our doctors, to know about the list and importance of the list. So I would also request, if you have any questions, kindly raise in this after this my slides completion. Next slide. Yes. So, as everybody might have known that this list is every year being published by WADA. So it is shared with all the anti-doping organizations in the month of September. It also comes through UNESCO to all the governments, all the country governments. If anything is there, any issue is there, so it can be communicated to any UNESCO through government. After that, this list is become officially from 1st January every year, and all the anti-doping organizations must ensure the compliance as per if enforced list. So this year, It is also affected from 1st January 2024, and National Dope Testing Laboratory ensured that whatever the substance, whatever the changes has been made, we are in compliance with this list. These are the official sources where we can find this list from WADA website, from NADA website, and from National Anti-Doping Database. So this I have shared this some links where we can get this official list. This list is very elaborated, and this year it is the work done by WADA is very comprehensive. They have explained in detail. So I would request all the participants, they should go through this list at least once. If any doubts are there, they can discuss with NADA and they can discuss with NDTL for any clarification if it is required. But it is really very comprehensive, very detailed, and summary also provided. What are the changes made compared to 2023 to 2024. So the summary list is very easy to understand the changes, because sometimes it's difficult to understand because there are many substances, more than 400 substances are there. So when we go through list, the summary of the changes, it is very easy to understand. So this list is contained the substances which is prohibited, methods are prohibited in competition and out of competition, and some in particular sports. As I said, it is already, what is mentioned in the slide, it is already I said, so I will just go next. Yeah, this is also published in 2 languages, officially in English and French. The criteria for inclusion of any substance in prohibited list, these are the 3 criteria, but out of 3, 2, if they are meeting the 2, it will come under prohibited list. So there is a working group in WADA. Their entire year that group is working on this list. So time to time it is being reviewed and updated. So if it is a potential risk for health, it is also prohibited. And generally, if anything, any substance, if we are taking in excess, it is not good for health. So you can see this, the list gradually increasing. Initially, in 60s, there was only 10 to 20 substances were there. Then in 70s, 50, then 80s, 100 substances. And now you can see more than 400 substances are there in the prohibited list. Plus some methods, some other testing, biological passport. So the further testing is continuing in urine and plus blood. The challenge is this, the sample must be reported within 20 days. So it is very faster turnaround times. It is the maximum limit, but testing authorities may request for 72 hours, 2 days, 5 days as per the need. But the maximum allowed is 20 days. The sample must be reported within 20 days. If any technical issues there, any scientific issues there, then extra time may be taken from testing authorities. Or sometime we get multiple findings. It takes time. Sometimes we don't have, the method is not working for particular sample. So we need to do some extra work. So sometimes it is required to ask some more time from testing authorities. And it is mandatory. If we are not asking and it is not being confirmed by NADA, it is again non-compliance. So if we see the prohibited list, there is various categories mentioned from S0 to S5, which is in all time, and prohibited, which is in competition, this S6 to S9. There are 3 methods, M1, M2, M3. They are also prohibited. It is also all time. In particular sports, P1, beta blockers. In some sports, beta blocker is prohibited at any level. It is also defined in prohibited list. So accordingly, all the any sample found adverse analytic finding, the thoroughly review is done according to rules and regulations mentioned in ISL. So at present we have to handle more than 400 substance in each sample. Sometime it crosses 500 to 600 because there are various metabolites in particular substance. This is very important to share with all of you. Recently findings. These are the non-approved substance also we are finding in our samples, dope control samples. GW 1516, LGD 4033, boldenone, methendione, ostarine. So it is very serious concern how athletes are getting those substances, and it must be avoided, and they should not consume these. Maybe they are coming through dietary supplements, or maybe some through gray market, maybe through internet, and there are many various possibilities to get. So athletes are getting through various sources. There are approved substance like nandrolone, erythropoietins, clenbuterol. These are also finding in several cases. However, they are for therapeutic use. Even clean material not used for therapeutic use, but however it is being found in samples, dope control samples. So we need to focus, means something need to be done to avoid this availability of these substances. As I hope everybody is aware with the TUE, but just I mentioned for knowledge for this, the if some athlete is need to take some drug due to therapeutic use, so they must take therapy. They must apply for TUE. And if it is not applied for that, then consequence you already know, and what will happen. It is not always possible to have a retrospective TUE. These are the substance TUE should be taken for SCG, SGH biomarker, beta-2 agonist, diuretics, stimulants, in particular amphetamine and methylphenidate, glucocorticoids, and beta blockers. For these substances, TUE must be obtained if the athlete is consuming for that due to any therapeutic reason. Therefore, based on this, our experience, sometime we found that athletes says this due to inadvertently they don't know in any, for example, dietary supplements or any medicine they have taken, it is prohibited. So it is the athlete's responsibility. They must check any medication before use. For that, our NADA did very great job by developing app. So this app also need to be promoted at each occasion. So people should know this. Know your medicine app is there. So it should be used as much as possible. Extreme caution is recommended for using of dietary supplements. Even all natural supplements could contain a prohibited substance. So every moment we have to be very careful. So this is the very short presentation from my side, but I'm open here for discussion. So I would request Nada if it is this time or end of the presentation you are going to have a question and answer. It is up to you. So I am here to answer if any question is there. Thank you. Thank you for listening carefully, patientfully.
Thank you, sir, for this informative presentation. Now, I would like to request Dr. Naval K. Vikram, Chairman, TUE Committee, NADA, India, to join us and to deliver the presentation specifically tailored for the medical practitioners, therapeutic access, the TUE insight.
Very good evening to all of you, and thank you very much for inviting me for this presentation. So I'll share my slides.
वॉल्यूम बढ़ाना है यहाँ से अच्छा अच्छा
Okay, are my slides visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll be talking about the therapeutic use exemption, which Dr. Sahu briefly alluded to. Because like any other individual, the athletes also may require a medical attention or may require medical treatment from time to time. Uh, maybe the problems related to the sport or training or totally unrelated. And so that is the time they need the medication, but they have to be careful that if some medication is absolutely required, does not land them up in trouble. So therapeutic use exemption is given for to an athlete to treat an illness where a medication would contain a banned substance. So this TUE gives the authorization to the athlete to use this substance without getting
ये
penalized
कैमरा नहीं
for
चल
the
रहा था
same.
क्या सॉरी
Now, many medicines may contain the banned substances, and it is always the responsibility of the athlete, first thing, and also the responsibility of the medical practitioner or the physician whom the athlete is consulting to be aware about the possibility of a banned substance being there. So, even the physician or the medical practitioner should also guide the athlete about what is right and what is not right. So, TUE is approved. Therapeutic use exemption can be taken before using a substance, or in certain cases, it can be used when the substance is already being used and subsequently a retroactive TUE may be taken. So, there are specific criteria or conditions which need to be fulfilled before the TUE is given, and these are the criteria which have been set by the international standards for therapeutic use exemptions. So some commonly used medications or methods which are prohibited, as Dr. Sahu also showed earlier, let's say diuretics, which are very commonly used for hypertension, beta blockers, steroids, which are widely used for several conditions where they are required, and beta 2 agonists, IV fluids, etc. Now, the ISUE includes the key information. Now, about the criteria, when to grant TUE, the confidentiality of the information, how the committees, how the TUE committees are formed, and what is the TUE process. So, the criteria, one should be aware that all the criteria which is listed in the Article 4.2 of ISUE need to be fulfilled before a TUE is granted. Now, these criteria are briefly mentioned here. I'll be showing them later or as well. That the prohibited substance or the method, because both the things, they are needed to treat a diagnosed medical condition. Now, some key terms are very important for everyone. One, it is a diagnosed medical condition which is supported by relevant clinical evidence. So this is extremely important. Many times we get the TUE applications where the medical condition is not clearly mentioned, and even if a diagnosis is mentioned, it is not supported by relevant investigation, because that is extremely important. Now, and also the assumption that use of this substance will not, on probabilities, produce additional enhancement of performance beyond what would be anticipated if the athlete returns to his or her normal state of health. So it's not going to affect the performance beyond making that person well. Now, this is a prohibited substance which is indicated for the medical condition. This is another key word, indicated for the medical condition, required for the treatment, but there is no reasonable alternative. So there is nothing else which is the standard of treatment. And that is the reason this is the treatment with this substance may be required. And the fourth one is that it should not be based on a previous use. Like previously it has been used, so now we can use it. That is not a question. So who grants TUE? All international federations or the national anti-doping organizations are in principle required to have a TUE process. Now the applications, the athletes may send their application, which is well documented medical evidence, that is a physician or a medical practitioner's uh, clinical summary of the individual, or and along with that investigation that has to be there. Now, major events, sometimes there are events are happening, and those event organizations may also provide TUE, but that is restricted to only that event. That is not applicable in other events. Whereas the TUE, which is given by the International Federation or the NADOs, is applicable for the period, whatever period the TUE is given, for that period, whatever event may be there, may the athlete participate. So it is applicable to the whole period, that period. Now, the international levels, international athletes may apply to international federations, and the national level athletes may apply to the national anti-doping organization. Now, before applying, the athlete has to have the support of a physician. That's the role of physician comes very important, because athlete alone cannot apply for a TUE. It has to be with the help of a medical professional to complete the TUE form, because medical professional has to certify and sign the TUE application that I have seen this, I have examined, and I recommend this treatment, and in my opinion, this treatment is absolutely required. Now, in cases where the banned substances are for the substances which are in competition only, which are required absolutely, there the athlete should apply for a TUE at least 30 days before the next competition, unless there is an emergency situation. So the athlete knows that he or she has to take this medication, and the medication is banned for in competition. So beforehand, if it is taken, then the athlete can take the substance and participate without getting penalized. All right. So, documents which can help the physicians with the TUE process. So, WADA has developed guidelines to assess the TUE committees. And these are also going to be helpful for all the physicians who are taking care of, who are managing the athlete. So, these will help them to understand what is required. These are the guidelines. As I said, these are guidelines. They are not mandatory, but they can assist in the decision making process. And there are several checklists also which are developed by WADA for the medical specialists. Now, coming to retroactive TUE, as I mentioned earlier, retroactive TUE is covered under ISTUE Article 4.1. Now, this is granted retroactive, that means the substance, whatever is required, has been already used. And now, because due to certain situations, it was required to be used, and now the athlete wants to have a retroactive exemption. So this athlete may be granted retroactive TUE only if under these certain conditions. One, it was an emergency condition where immediate treatment was necessary. It could not wait. Second, there was insufficient time or the opportunity for the athlete to apply for a TUE. Suppose the athlete is not in his or her own city or her own town or her country, then at that time it may be difficult to apply for that, and then subsequently it can be done. The rules did not allow or require the athlete to apply prospectively. So somehow due to certain rules, the athlete was not able to not able to apply prospectively. And the non-international or national level athletes who are tested, they can apply for a retroactive TUE, or if an athlete has used a substance which is out of competition, but the substance is banned in competition and the overlap period is there, and then the substance is detected in competition, the substance is detected, However, he or she might have used it before the competition, but due to the half life or the substance, it has not been eliminated from the body, but still is affected. So, in that situation, also a retroactive TUE may be applied for. And then, depending upon uh, what is the situation, what is the documentation, the PUE may be granted or may not be granted. So every application does not automatically mean that the PUE will be granted. So in order for TUE to be granted, all the four criteria which are the which I mentioned earlier also, right? So the key words here is that medical information which is clearly documented, which is clearly supported by documents, and it is a well diagnosed condition. And the treatment, whatever is needed, there is no alternative to that. So these are the most important things to be kept in the mind by the physicians taking care of athletes. And what is the athlete's responsibility? It's a big responsibility. In fact, the major responsibility lies in the athlete, that one should always verify whether athlete is allowed to use a particular substance or a method. They should not, because subsequently, if they are detected, the adverse event is detected, one cannot say that I had used it inadvertently. No, that is not acceptable by any organization, and they may be penalized for it. Or if the substance or method is banned, identify if the athlete needs it. Now, the athlete should, if some substance he or she is taking, they should go through the guidelines and see whether it actually needs a TUE, because sometimes some may not need a TUE. Unnecessary applications also can be avoided. And the process of application also they should be aware, and this is where the responsibility of the coaches come. They should make aware each and every athlete about the process. So many times we get that we did not know about the TUE, and then the adverse event is detected and the athlete is penalized, and subsequently they again file a retroactive TUE, and the reason is given as we were not aware about it. So any athlete who is going to participate in any level should be aware about TUE process and how to apply it. Now, if a TUE is approved, it will be only for a specific medicine, for a specific dosage, and for a specific duration. There is always an expiry date. It's not that the TUE granted is indefinite. No. Even if the athlete is requiring that medication for a very long period of time, for example, an athlete with type 1 diabetes requires insulin lifelong, and insulin is a prohibited substance. So, for a period of time, the TUE can be granted depending upon the prescription. If the prescription is given for 3 months, then the TUE will be granted for 3 months. If the prescription is for 6 months, then it will be granted for 6 months. So, it is the TUE granted will depend upon the prescription date. And prescription, obviously, as we all medical practitioners know, that prescription can never be indefinite, whole life. We have also had some prescriptions where they say this medication is required lifelong. No, that is the incorrect way of writing a prescription as per the guidelines for any medical practitioner. One has to specify the period. Now, TUE can be denied by the TUE committee. However, athletes has the right to athlete still has a right to apply to the national level body that yes, my TUE was not granted and if it is wrong, the person can appeal and there is another committee which goes to the appeal. When to apply for a TUE, this is the chart it gives you. If you are using something in competition, definitely TUE is required. If it is out of competition during the washout period, then the TUE may be required. And if it is out of competition prior to the washout period, it is very unlikely that a TUE is required. TUE may be required because washout period will be there, and after the washout period, if the event occurs, then there is no need to apply for a TUE. Now, completing a form, it's very important. As I earlier have emphasized on a clear diagnosis, this is the responsibility of the physician. Clear diagnosis, history of medical condition, physical findings, and relevant clinical investigations or imaging, or any other evidence which supports the diagnosis. And also evidence of using alternative permitted medications where reasonable and appropriate. So these all information has to be mentioned in the TUE form, and it has to be very clear and complete. So life cycle is that an athlete applies for a TUE, goes to the EDO or the TUE manager, is submitted, and there is a period of 21 days for the TUE committee to render a decision. And after which the decision is submitted to the TUE manager or the administrator, and then subsequently it is informed to the athlete. And now again, I'm emphasizing the key requirements: diagnosis, which is clear, medical documentation, the prescription should include dosage, route of administration, and the duration very clearly. No ambiguity should be there in these information, and this should be sent to the appropriate uh, EDO or enter directly into ADAMS. This is GADA's international database system. Now, this is again the criteria of granting. Now, these are the conditions for applying for retroactive that the competition level permits for you to apply for a retroactive TUE, or there's an emergency, urgent treatment required, and if or there was a insufficient time. So this is again, I mentioned earlier, but again, just to emphasize that when can one athlete apply for a retroactive TUE? So that was my last slide, and I hope this presentation has given some clear idea to the physicians who are caring about the athletes regarding the TUE process and what has to be done. I'd be happy to take any questions right now or later on. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing my slide.
Thank you, Dr. Naval, for this insightful information. Now, I request Mr. Amit, Research Associate, NADA, to take our audience through a quiz.
Thank you, Ayushi. So, as Dr. Nawal sir has already shared the informative PPT with all due information around TUE, and now we request you that we will be displaying a QR code over the screen so that you can scan that, and there will be a quiz inside that QR code. And I request you all that please submit those answers as much as information you have gotten from this the presentations that has been shared. For now, I'll be repeating the questions, or we'll be displaying the questions over the screen. And I request that those who can scan this QR code, please do scan from your Google camera, and there will be a form. And for those who cannot scan, there's a link also provided down there. So we'll start the quiz one by one. See, as you can see, the questions we are displaying over the screen, I request all of you that please attempt these questions so that you can also assess that how much information do you have regarding the TUE, and it will also give us our assessment that how much it has been helpful for you that we have provided this information, and it has been a good medium for you to acknowledge all these terms and conditions regarding TUE, which is very important for athletes. So we'll go by the first question. The question number one is, Therapeutic use exemption will be needed to treat an illness or condition with the medication when it contains a banned substance. So if you think that the right answer is yes, please submit your answer. If you think that if you don't agree with this, then you can submit the no. Moving on to the next question. Next question is, after submitting the TOE application by an athlete, then the maximum days for a TOE committee to take the decision for that application are 21 days, 30 days, 15 days, or 11 days. How much maximum days a TOE committee can take to give a decision applied or to grant a TOE for an athlete? I hope you would have already attempted that questions. Now moving on to the third question. When completing a TOE form, the following medical evidences are required. First one is a clear diagnosis. Second one is history of medical condition and physical findings if appropriate. Third one is copies of the clinical investigation and or imaging. Fourth one is other evidences to support the diagnosis, such as hospital review letter and test results. The fifth one is evidences of using alternative permitted medications were reasonable and appropriate. And the fifth is all of the above. What are the evidences required for an athlete when he applies for the TOE? Now moving on to the fourth question. What is the prohibited substances? This might be the easiest question in this quiz. Any authorization to use the banned substance or method to treat a legitimate medical condition? Option B is any substance which has a potential to enhance or enhances the sport performance. And the third option is any solution for athletes, coaches, medical professionals to guide them about prohibited substances. I request you, all of the participants, to please address these questions. Please submit your answers. Doesn't matter whether it is correct or not. We'll be giving you the answers. But please do submit these answers from your Google form. Moving on to the last question, which is which organization needs to establish anti-doping rules? First one is National Anti-Doping Organizations. Second option is government. Third option is international federations. And the fourth option is none of the above. I hope you all have submitted your answers. there is any doubt or query regarding these questions, you can put your query in your chat box. We have already got a very positive feedback and everybody has answered in the chat box also. Thank you very much for participating. And we'll be displaying the answers later on. Please submit the form after attempting all the questions. And one more request it is that we'll be also displaying one feedback scan code. So whatever feedback you want to provide us for our assessment, please do that from this feedback. For that also we will be sharing the scan code and there will be a registration link below it. So whichever is suitable for you, you can use any medium, either the scan code. Chat box में डाल दीजिए. You're also sharing the link in the chat box also. You can use it from there also. But please do submit the feedback.
Also, if you may have any question or queries, you may write into the chat box or you may raise your hand. So the second question is showing wrong. Someone has written. Please explain. Which one is the correct option? So it's showing wrong. Maybe without issue, answer is right.
Right. The answer of the second question is 21 days.
There may be some technical error.
The correct answer of the second question is 21 days.
That will answer the field one. The answer of the second question is showing as wrong. Then click 21 days. The correct answer is 21 days only. There may be some technical error, because of that it is showing like that. But the correct answer is 21 days.
No, sir, we can Mr. Abhay sir, we can see your name. It is reflecting in the participant list.
I hope everybody has shared the scan code and shared their feedback with us.
Okay, Dr. Mishra. We will see that because here in our form, it is the correct answer, but it might be showing there with some kind of technical error.
The person who has prepared this Google form may be sure he has entered the wrong answer, but the correct answer is 21. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. I hope our audience found this quiz enlightening and thought-provoking. Now we will transition towards the question and answer round of today's webinar. If you have any questions, please type them in chat box and we will do our best to address them. I would like to thank all the participants for this participation. I would like to request Mr. Jai Singh, Assistant Project Officer, NADA, India, for the concluding remark and vote of thanks.
Thank you all to all experts and speakers who present in today's session. I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of you and especially medical practitioners for joining us today for this informative sessions on anti-doping awareness. Your time and expertise are greatly valued. This session provides us with crucial insight into the importance of anti-doping measures and how we as a medical professional can play a virtual role in maintaining fair and healthy sports environment. Once again, I am very heartfelt thanks to all the speakers and experts for sharing their knowledge and insights on importance of anti-doping in sports. In conclusion, let us all continue to work together clean and doping-free sporting environment. Thank you once again for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jai Singh and NADA team. Thank you very much, and all the participants.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.